Here's a question that has baffled party guests and students for decades. If you have a small group of just 23 people, what do you think the chances are that at least two of them share the exact same birthday? Most people guess a small number, maybe 5 or 10%. Take a moment to think about what your guess would be. The actual answer is over 50%. This is so counterintuitive that it's called the birthday paradox. It's not a true paradox, but it certainly messes with our intuition. Let's dissect the mathematics behind it together and see why our intuition often fails us with probability problems. The key to solving this is a classic probabilistic maneuver. If calculating an event directly is complex, calculate its complement, its exact opposite. This technique often simplifies problems that seem overwhelming at first glance. Calculating the probability of at least one match directly is quite messy. We'd need to account for all the different ways matches could occur, pairs, triplets, and so on. This would involve the principle of inclusion-exclusion, which quickly becomes unwieldy. So, instead of this direct approach, which would be like navigating a maze, let's try a different path. What if we calculate the probability of the opposite event? This is often a clever way to simplify probability problems. The opposite event is that every single person in the room has a unique birthday. This scenario is far more structured and much easier to calculate. It's like choosing distinct days from a calendar rather than finding matching ones. Because these two events, having at least one match or having no matches at all, are mutually exclusive and cover all possibilities, their probabilities must sum to 1. This simple but powerful identity is the foundation of our entire approach. Now, let's build our probability model step by step. First, as any good mathematician would do, we need to clearly state our assumptions to make sure our model reflects the problem accurately. Before we dive into the calculation, let's clarify the assumptions we'll make to simplify our model. First, we'll consider a standard Gregorian calendar with 365 days, ignoring leap years. Second, we'll assume birthdays are uniformly distributed throughout the year, that a birth is equally likely on any given day. In reality, birth rates vary by season, with more babies born in late summer and early fall in many countries. Third, we assume all birthdays are independent of each other. The birthday of one person doesn't affect the likelihood of another's birthday. Finally, we're not considering twins or triplets who would automatically share birthdays. These assumptions help make our math tractable, but remember they slightly deviate from real-world distributions. Interestingly, the non-uniform distribution of actual birthdays would make the probability of matches even higher in practice. Let's start building our probability. The first person can have any birthday without creating a conflict. They have all 365 days available, so their probability of having a unique birthday is simply 1. Now comes the second person. For them to have a different birthday than the first person, they must be born on one of the remaining 364 days. So their probability of having a unique birthday is 364 divided by 365. To find the probability that the first two people have different birthdays, we use the chain rule of probability. The probability for the first person is 365 out of 365. Given the first person's birthday is set, the probability that the second person has a different birthday is 364 out of 365. We multiply these conditional probabilities together to get the total probability for the pair. Let's add a third person to our group. At this point, 2 birthdays are already taken, so this person has 363 possible days to choose from for a unique birthday. Their probability is 363 divided by 365. The pattern continues as we add more people. For 3 people, the probability of all having different birthdays is the product of all 3 individual probabilities. Notice how each additional person slightly reduces the overall probability of having no matches. From this pattern we've been building, we can develop a general formula that works for any number of people. Let's see what that looks like. For a group of any size, We can write the probability of no birthday matches as this fraction. The numerator is a product that starts at 365 and decreases by 1 for each person added. The denominator is simply 365 raised to the power of the number of people. We can express this more elegantly using permutation notation or factorials. This formula represents the number of ways to arrange unique birthdays for our group, divided by the total number of possible birthday arrangements. It's like counting the ways to place different colored balls into different boxes, divided by all possible ways to place the balls. Now for the moment we've been building toward, let's apply this formula to our specific question about a room with 23 people and see what answer we get. Don't worry if the formula looks intimidating. We'll break it down step by step. We substitute 23 for the number of people in our formula. This gives us the factorial expression shown here. While it looks intimidating, modern calculators or computers can handle this calculation quite easily. After crunching the numbers, we find that the probability of everyone having a unique birthday in a group of 23 people is approximately 0.4927, or about 49.3%. This is just under 50%. The probability of at least one match is 1 minus the probability of no matches. So we subtract our calculated value from 1. And we get our final answer, 0.5073, or about 50.7%. That's right. In a room of just 23 people, the probability of a match is greater than 50%. The birthday paradox is resolved mathematically, even if it still feels surprising to our intuition. The reason this result feels so counterintuitive is that the probability doesn't grow linearly with the number of people. Instead, it increases in a rapid, non-linear fashion. This growth is driven by the quadratic relationship with the number of pairs. Let's see this visually with a graph that shows how quickly the probability rises. On this graph, the horizontal axis shows the number of people in the room, and the vertical axis shows the probability of at least one shared birthday. Notice how the curve crosses the 50% line right at 23 people, and look how steeply it rises. By the time we reach 57 people, the probability has skyrocketed to 99%. It's almost a certainty that there will be a match. So, why does our intuition get this problem so wrong? The fundamental issue is that we're not accounting for the combinatorial explosion that happens when we look at all possible pairs of people. Here's the key insight. We instinctively frame the question from our own perspective. What's the chance someone shares my birthday? But that's not the question we're answering. We're asking whether any two people in the entire room share a birthday. This shift in perspective makes all the difference. Let's actually calculate the probability of the question we're not asking. In a room of 23 people, the chance that someone shares my specific birthday is only about 5.8%. This low percentage aligns with our intuition, which is why the actual answer of over 50% feels so wrong. So if the match me probability is so low, where does the 50% come from? It comes from the fact that we're not just checking one person against the group. We're checking every possible pair of people. The mathematical way to count these pairs is given by the binomial coefficient n choose 2. You can imagine this as the number of handshakes if everyone shakes hands with everyone else exactly once. Each of these handshakes represents a potential birthday match. Let's apply this to our example with 23 people. The formula gives us 23 times 22 divided by 2, which equals 253 unique pairs. With 253 different opportunities for a birthday match, suddenly the high probability makes perfect sense. It's not about the number of people, it's about the number of possible connections between them. For those of you who want to go deeper into this fascinating problem, there's a powerful approximation formula that mathematicians use to calculate these probabilities more easily. This isn't just a party trick. The same mathematics underpins the concept of hash collisions in computer science and cryptography, where we need to know the likelihood of two different inputs producing the same output. Using a powerful mathematical tool known as the Taylor approximation, we can simplify our complex formula into this elegant exponential form. The key takeaway here is the term in the exponent, n times n minus 1. This shows that the probability is driven not by n, the number of people, but roughly by n squared. This quadratic relationship is the mathematical engine behind the paradox's rapid probability growth. Now I have a challenge for you. How many people would you need in a room to be 99.9% certain of finding at least one shared birthday? Try using the approximation formula we just derived. Set 1 minus e to the power of negative n times, n minus 1 over 2 times, 365 equal to 0.999, and solve for n. This birthday paradox is a beautiful example of how mathematics can reveal surprising truths that challenge and recalibrate our intuition about the world around us.